Okay.
Hi all.
Hi.
So I'm just going to pin my video. So yeah, Vinyasa flow, it's good for beginners because of the repetition. But obviously the Vinyasa, it's, you know, it can be off-putting for beginners because we see what's called a full chaturanga. And I might actually just show you now what a full chaturanga is, because I want you to know that it doesn't matter if you ever get to this, but when people get put off of Vinyasa flow, it's often because of this pose. So it doesn't matter if you've not done the videos yet, but a full chaturanga is a series of poses. So often it starts from a downward dog, comes forwards into a plank, and then it lowers into like a half press up, pulls into what's called an upward dog, which is a back bend, and then you push the floor away, back into downward dog. We're not going to be doing that. We're going to be doing a modified variation of that. So I'm just going to put you on mute. Again, if you want to shout at me, if there's something you don't understand when I'm explaining the poses, just unmute yourself, because I do if you have questions. So I'm just going to be going over the variations of the vinyasas that we're going to be working on. And then I'm going to be going over a few other poses that are kind of the pivotal poses of yoga, the standing poses anyways. So let's all come to stand, and we'll just go over some of the stuff that we've been doing. So finding that Tadasana, either feet together or hip distance apart, whatever works for you. Palms face forwards, lift the toes, get that activation happening in the foot, and then press the toes down. Feel that lift all the way across the front line of the body. Slight tuck of the chin. Try not to lock out the knees. Inhale, the hands come high. And then exhale, just bring the hands to Anjali Mudra and then back to Tadasana. So just do 5 of these. Nice warm up. Inhale, hands come high. Exhale, taking them down. Good. So 4 more. Using your own breath. Finding that kind of rhythm of your own breathing. You can close your eyes. But when you start to move with that breath, there's a real kind of power in it. And this is another reason I love Vinyasa flow, because Vinyasa flow moves with the breath, okay? And it really doesn't matter if you're doing the most complex variation of Vinyasa or one of the really modified variations. Good. So coming back into that Tadasana pose, let's take our hands high one more time. And then we're going to fold into Uttanasana. So just folding down and just grab hold of opposite elbows. So we're going to take what's called ragdoll. Let the head be heavy. I've got my whole belly and my chest on my thighs. My knees are bent. And I'm just letting my head release. So avoid the urge to look at the screen, kind of see what I'm doing, and then just stay. You can sway from side to side, or you can stay where you are. Avoid again looking at the screen. Take your hands onto the fronts of your shins, draw the navel to the spine, and just lengthen halfway. Ardha Uttanasana, okay? So halfway lifts. And then exhale, fold. And then inhale, let's roll all the way back up. And hands come high. Good. Okay, so last week we looked at a pose called Warrior One. So we're gonna look at Warrior One, and then I'm gonna teach you what's called High Lunge. Now, High Lunge is often a little bit trickier than Warrior One, and this is because the back leg has to be a lot stronger and balance is involved. So keep your right foot forwards, come to the top of your mat. Right foot stays forwards, and just step your left foot back. Don't worry how far back it goes. Toe is at a 45-degree angle, okay? Your hips are probably on an angle right now, your right hip further forwards. So I want you to start to pull your right hip back, and you may have to step the feet wider apart. What you don't want is to be like standing on a tightrope. You want to be on railway tracks, okay? So then square the hips, and hands can be on the hips, they can be to heart center, or they can be up to the sky. Bend in the front knee, and if your knee looks like mine, it just means that you haven't taken a wide enough stance. So step further back. Remember, we want to be protecting our knee joint, and we want to be strengthening the muscles. This means that the knee is never going to creep forwards of the ankle, okay? Really important rule. Press into the back foot, squeeze your butt cheek, pull that left hip forwards. Okay, so this is warrior one, Virabhadrasana 1. Stay where you are. High lunge, the difference here, right leg stays the exact same, but we lift the heel of the back foot off the floor, and now I'm being forced to balance. So this pose, you don't have to come into it yet, is gonna strengthen my butt cheek. I'm gonna strengthen what's called adduction, which is squeezing my thighs together. So everybody take your hands onto your hips. I would say don't look at the screen. I want you all to choose something that's unmoving in front of you. If your balance is really off, grab a wall. Then just start to pull your left hip further forwards until you come onto the ball of your back foot. Bend your left knee. Okay, we do not need to worry about straightening that leg. Now, squeeze both of those thighs to center. Okay, you're really, really using that adduction, squeezing those thighs to center, and then you might press back into that heel. Your back leg is a powerhouse right now. It is super, super strong. You're squeezing your butt cheek. You're pulling the thighs together. You should feel a stretch on the front of that thigh. Good. Then from here, either dropping the heel and stepping forwards or just stepping that foot forwards and shaking it out. Why do I love Vinyasa Flow? It is going to make your legs so, so strong. This is going to make your core strong, your glutes strong. All of this is going to help you with everything that you do in your life, the way you walk, the way you move, the way you fall. Good. Okay, so we're going to try that on the other side. So coming to stand again, your left foot is going to stay put and you're going to step back with your right foot. Maybe getting a little bit more brave, stepping further back each time. Toe, 45 degrees. Start to square those hips, bend in that front knee. Again, if your knee looks like this, you just need to step the feet further back. Now, remember, we don't want the back foot in line with the front foot. You want to be on railway tracks, so feet about hip distance apart. Start to press into the back foot, squeeze the butt cheek, pull the hip forwards, draw the navel ever so slightly. Remember, I'm just going to grab that belly button. So whoop, just light engagement here. Hands can stay on the hips. Finding warrior one, Virabhadrasana 1, okay? I actually don't like this pose because I feel like it causes strain in the knee. I prefer high lunge. So we're gonna try high lunge now, hands on your hips or grab a wall. Don't be scared to use the wall, guys. Spin onto the ball of the back foot. You can see that my right knee is bent, okay? This is gonna make it slightly easier for me. Squeeze those thighs together. Now start to really switch on that right butt cheek. Keep the navel drawing in. Hands are either on the hips, or if you're feeling brave, you might even try to take them up to the sky. Don't look at the screen. I'm not even doing the pose. Look at something unmoving, okay? As soon as we come into these more balancy poses, you need to be focusing on something unmoving. Good. Focus. Step that foot forwards. Shake it out. So not uncommon for your thighs to start screaming at you, for you to get a butt cramp, for the ankles to start screaming at you. You're building up so much strength. So stay where you are. I want you to just watch me for a second. So, I mean, you can see my thighs are really strong, okay? They've got big thighs. They're really, really strong. And this is from a really solid vinyasa practice. So if I'm standing here and I step back and I come into that high lunge, my legs are going to be concrete. They're not going to move. And this means that I can do absolutely anything I want with my hands, and I'm not going to throw myself off balance. And this is because my legs are doing everything for me. Now, you're not going to do that right now, but what you want to believe in is that everything from the waist down is your tree trunk. It's strong. And then your arms, your upper body become your branches. Okay? Anybody got any questions about that high lunge? Wobbling is normal. Okay? You're going to wobble at the beginning. All right. So the real only difference between warrior one and that high lunge is the back foot. Front leg is the same. You're just switching. This is used in your Vinyasa Flow. This is used in your sun salutations. That's the real difference. Okay, we're going to have a look at Virabhadrasana 2, warrior 2. So standing at the top of your mat again, you're going to keep your right foot where it is, and you're going to step back with your left. Then you're going to turn left toe to face the side mat. Okay, left toe to face the side mat, press into the outside edge of the foot. I think we may have gone over this last week, actually. Bend in the front knee. And what we want to make sure with this front knee is that it's not collapsing in. So if I'm facing you, This is what often happens with that front knee. And if I'm doing this, all that pressure is going to the inside of my knee. And that's not where I want the pressure to be. I want the pressure to be in glute min and glute mid, which is the outside of the butt cheek. So when I have that knee bent, I want to be pulling the knee out to the side, and it's these muscles that are working. So take your hand onto the meaty bit of the outside of your butt cheek, release, squeeze, release, squeeze, okay? Get comfortable with this set of muscles. They're really important. You need to have that knee not collapsing inwards. Your glutes, most people, they're weak. Okay, so front knee is forwards and slightly pushing out to the right. Push into the outside edge of that back foot and pull the thigh up towards the hip. Now, imagine that I have placed a walnut between your butt cheeks. I want you to squeeze that walnut, okay? So nice strong butt cheeks, squeezing towards each other. Now imagine as well, put your hands on the insides of your thighs. You want the sensation of these thighs wrapping open, okay? So a lazy warrior two looks a bit like this. So the back knee's kind of sickling in, the front knee's sickling in, nothing's working. That walnut is being squeezed between your butt cheeks, boom, okay? Everything's opening. You've got the hips opening, the glutes are strengthening, the quads are strengthening, everything's active, okay? Bottom legs, they work like crazy. Draw the navel in. If you get tired, just straighten your leg for a second. Draw the navel in, and then the arms go parallel to the floor. Nice work, guys. So from here, turn the palms to face up. So you've got that external rotation. Now keep that external rotation, but just turn the palms down. Don't worry if some of your arm turns, okay? So just have that kind of, it's like the backs of the shoulders are just coming towards each other ever so slightly. Now, look down the front middle finger. That is warrior two, okay? You're gonna straighten your front leg. Oh, turn the right toe to face the side mat, and then turn the left toe to face forwards. We're just gonna do it on the other side. So start to bend in that front left knee. Place your hand onto the meaty bit of your front butt cheek, and just start to collapse in. Squeeze these muscles, push it out. Collapse in, squeeze, push it out. Okay, so as if my hand is resting on the outside edge of your knee and you're pushing into my hand. Okay, it's like the reverse of the Farrah Fawcett like thigh master thing. I think it was Farrah Fawcett. One of them with the flippy hair. Good. Okay, so that's that front leg. Nice bend. Again, knee is not overshooting that ankle. You need to widen the stance if that's happening. Press into the back foot, pull the thigh up, and then boop. Okay, little walnut between the butt cheeks. Open up those hips. Take the hands to the inner thighs and just feel that action of the thighs rolling open. Good. What we don't want to be doing here is kind of like duck bumming out. So you want to be drawing the navel slightly in and just feel the front of the pubic bone slightly lift. Nothing crazy. You don't want to be then tucking all the way under. Slight lift. Arms come long. Look down the left middle finger. Okay, this is a warrior pose. Like these are strong poses. Vinyasa flow is strong. Okay, it's badass. So like get your warrior badass self on right now. Good, and then just straighten your leg. Shake it out. Okay, whatever you need to do. Cramps, not unusual. Getting a little bit sweaty, a little bit tired, not unusual. Just move in whatever way feels good. Okay, so high lunge. Then you've got warrior two. Then we've got something called reverse warrior. So I want you to watch me first. In a Vinyasa flow class, this is how these three poses link together. So I'd come into my high lunge, and then I'd open into my warrior two, and then I'm gonna flip my front hand, and I'm gonna reverse my warrior. My legs are not changing. And this is why Vinyasa flow makes the legs so strong, because from this pose, I come into this pose, I come back into this pose, like everything is super, super strong. And my upper body is just like, way, having a little party. So come to stand at the top of your mat. I'm not gonna make you move that quick, don't worry. So from here, let's see if we can go from high lunge to warrior two. Right foot's gonna stay put. Step back with the left. You can hold the wall or hold your hips. Bend your left knee. Okay, you're coming into high lunge. Little wobble, don't worry, have your wall there. Good. From here, either hands stay on the hips, or if you want to challenge yourself, hands come high. Take a big inhale. And as you exhale, I want you to start to drop your left heel, left toe out to the side, right knee stays the same, and then see if you can open your arms. Good, that's the transition, okay? Now, imagine from the bottom of the hips down is not gonna change, okay? It's like in concrete. Look at your front hand, just listen to me. Don't look at the screen. Flip your front hand. Left hand is gonna connect to your left leg. Keep the bottom half of the body the exact same and just bring your right hand up towards the sky. Not behind you yet, just up towards the sky. It might even be 45 degrees. Now inhale, pull that arm sort of out of the shoulder joint. And as you exhale, just see if you can bring the arm a little bit further over. It doesn't have to be massive. Inhale, find length. Exhale a little bit more. Now people will have the tendency here to start straightening their front knee, so try to keep it bent. My hand is on the outside edge of that knee, push into my hand. Good, okay, come back into warrior two. That front leg is shaking, it's working so hard. Look forwards, step back into that standing position, pedal out those feet. Okay, can we do that transition on the other side? Again, if you need that wall, guys, have the wall handy or hands on the hips. This time, left foot stays forwards, step back with the right. Right away, bend your right knee. Don't worry about straightening it. Pull, right hip forwards, left hip back. Either hand stays on the wall, hands on the hips, or up to the sky. Big inhale here. And as you exhale, drop that back foot. Okay, make sure that you're not collapsing into the inside of the foot. Press the whole foot down, arms long. Good. Don't look at the screen. Look at your front hand, flip your palm. Start to bring your right hand onto your right thigh and bring your left arm maybe 45, so towards the ceiling, but not all the way up. Now take an inhale, pull the left arm a little bit out of the left shoulder, and then see if you can reach a little bit more. So instead of thinking about going back, think about opening the left side of the body. Now what's happening to that front knee? Bend a bit deeper, push into my imaginary hand on the outside of that knee. Good, back to warrior two, look at your left hand, and then step the back foot forwards, pedal out the feet. Good. So we've done 3 poses of a vinyasa flow now. Okay, there's only 3 more. Okay, 3 more poses that I'm going to go over today, and then we're going to look at the 3 vinyasas. So hopefully not that much more to look at. So pose number 3 is pyramid pose. So watch me first. So exact same legs as warrior 1. So you don't want to be feet directly behind each other, and it doesn't actually even matter if the feet are as wide, as far away as each other. From here, a couple of options. You can keep the hands on the hips. You can take the hands together behind the back like so. This is quite a mobile position where your hands are in reverse prayer. This is quite a hard one for my shoulders, so don't worry if you can't get to it. Then from here, I straighten my front leg, pull my right hip back, and I start to bow over my front leg. Now, I can already feel my hamstring working from here. Some people with really long hamstrings can come quite far. But the thing that you're going to find is that your right hip is going to want to run forwards, because the further back it goes, the more of the stretch you're going to get. So stand at the top of your mat. It's not that complicated. It's just getting the hips in the right position. So right foot stays where it is. Step not even as far back as you would with warrior 1 with your left foot. Toe again at 45, and just make sure that your feet aren't directly in front of each other. Step your feet a little bit wider. Now, bring your hands onto your hips, and I want you to pull your right hip back, okay? Your hamstring starts at your butt cheek. So if we pull the butt cheek back, then lean forwards, it's a longer stretch. So from here, hands either stay on the hips, coming into grabbing opposite elbows, or that reverse prayer if it's there for you. Straighten your front leg, pull the right hip back, and just start to look forwards, okay? This is more about the feeling than the destination. So yes, some people can fold all the way over their legs. I've got tight hamstrings. That's never going to happen for me. If I cheat, yeah, I can fold all the way down, but I'm not getting the stretch and my hips aren't in the right position. So just find that position. Imagine that you're pressing into a gas pedal with that front foot, and keep pulling left hip forwards, right hip back. Whew. Good. Rise back up. All you're going to do is switch. So you're going to step the left foot forwards. You can keep the hands like this or take them onto the hips. step the right foot back. Make sure that they're not directly in front of each other. Pull your right hip forwards, left hip back, and straighten out that front leg. Hands either still on the hips, reverse prayer, grabbing onto those forearms. Start to press into the gas pedal in the left foot and hinge forwards. Now, what you want to make sure here is if you have hypermobility, okay, you can see that my knee is folding in on itself, like backwards. You don't want to do that. So you want to keep a baby bend. Just finding that stretch. I don't know if I've said it enough to you yet, but it is sensation over destination. All you're working here is the back of that front leg, okay? Good, rise back up, pedal it out, stretch the legs, and I'll show you the next pose, okay? So the next pose is extended side angle, and this might feel like rapid fire, so don't worry if you don't remember the names or everything about the poses. You've got those pose tutorials. So the next pose is extended side angle. Legs are the exact same as warrior two. Legs are the exact same as reverse warrior. That's the nice thing, legs don't change. What's gonna change here, so reverse warrior is this, warrior is this. In extended side angle, I'm gonna take my front arm, just watch, don't do it yet. Front arm rests, and then I'm gonna turn my palm to face up about 45 degrees. And then I'm gonna use my breath to bring my arm over my head. Now, some of you are gonna stop here. That's maybe as far as your shoulder will let you go. Some of you are gonna feel comfortable going 45 degrees. Now, 45 degrees from my back heel to my hand. I don't want any of this, guys. This is not extended side angle. It is open, and you're trying to pull that shoulder back and send your chest up to the sky. The point of this is to open up that top shoulder, okay? So stand at the top of your mat. Sensation over destination. It is your body that matters, no one else's. So right foot is going to stay where it is. Take your hands onto your hips or grab the wall if you need it. We're going to step back into that high lunge. So bend in that left knee. Hands up if you feel confident. Take an inhale. As we exhale, we're going to open into warrior two. Toes face the side, arms open nice and long. Good. Legs are going to stay the exact same. Little flip in that front hand. Take the left hand onto the left leg and just bring that right arm high. Good. Nice. Back into warrior two. Your thigh's probably starting to burn. We're going to keep the knee bent. Right forearm connects to right thigh. Maybe your hand just comes onto your left hip. Maybe that's where you stay and you just work on opening the chest. Maybe you take that arm 45 and you turn the palm to face up. Maybe you start to work just feeling into that shoulder, seeing how far you can come. Okay? If the thigh is really killing you, you can straighten out a little bit. You're aiming to keep that knee on top of the ankle and reach that arm 45. Good. Look down and slowly start to rise back up. Straighten that front leg and then step back forwards. Pedal out the feet. So if you have felt like my thighs aren't, not my thighs, your thighs aren't strong enough, like you're wobbling all over the place, these poses are fab at building up that strength. So let's try it on the other side. Hands either on the hips or grabbing your wall if you need it. Left foot stays forwards, right foot steps back. Bend your right knee. Pull your right hip forwards, left hip back. Then maybe with confidence, with strength, with time, you work on straightening that leg a little bit more. Maybe the hands come high. Big inhale. As you exhale, left knee stays put, right toes open, arms open. Virabhadrasana 2, warrior 2. Look at your left hand, just listen, don't look at the screen. Flip the left hand, right hand is going to touch the right leg, and your left hand is going to come high. If you want to, you can also look up to your left hand. Good, keep looking at the left hand, come back into warrior 2, arms are long. Good, okay, from here, let's bring our right hand onto our right hip, and we're going to bring our left hand, or left forearm, onto your thigh. Now, palm stays facing up, okay? You got your supper, your treat after your yoga class that you want, okay? You don't want to drop the plate. Now from here, lengthen the crown of the head. Push into that back foot, nice and strong. And as you exhale, start to open up the chest. Look down if your balance is off. If you want to challenge yourself, you can look up. Then take that right arm, 45, turn the palm to face up, and maybe start to bring that arm up. Some of you will be able to get to 45, some of you won't. Again, does not matter. Good. look down, slowly start to straighten the leg, rise up. When you're ready, step yourself forwards, pedal out the feet. You're almost there. Got one pose left. I love to say this pose in Sanskrit because it's just really fun to say, but it's Utthita Trikonasana. You don't need to know that. It's called triangle. Okay, so it's triangle pose. Again, this is one that people, their ego gets in the way and they rush into it and they try to get to the floor. If you can see, my front shoulder is collapsing down. In triangle, you want to be able to have everything open, okay? We're not going to go that low, so don't even worry about it. Watch me first. So if I'm in that warrior two, all I'm going to do is straighten my front leg. Look at my front knee, okay? What I was talking about with that sway back. My front knee can go the opposite direction. This pose was my nemesis. I hated this pose because when I lock out my knee, there's no strength. And I was like, I can't do this. I can't do this. I've got knee problems. I've got knee problems. I now can do this pose with my eyes closed because I learned to not go into my hyperextension and I've built all the strength around my knee joint. I can't imagine myself getting a knee injury now because there's so much strength there. So I don't lock out my knee. I keep it, it looks straight, okay? But to me, it feels quite bent. So front leg is straight, back leg is straight, arms are long. I reach forwards and then you're only gonna tip about this far. Okay, now we want to work on bringing the hand to the inside of the leg versus holding ourselves up. However, some of us might not have the core strength or the leg strength to do that. So if you feel really weak, you can hold yourself on your front thigh or maybe on your front shin, not on your knee. Okay, we don't want to be pushing into that. So let's try out the pose. We're just going to come into Trikonasana. We're not going to go through the flow. So come to stand, hands on the hips or grab the wall. You're going to step back with your right foot and turn the toes to the side. If you're scared to step back really far, once you're there, work the feet away from each other. Now, technical alignment here is the front heel is kind of going into the middle of the back foot. Don't worry too much about that right now. Then start to straighten your front leg. Pay attention. How is the mobility of that front knee? You want to feel like the muscles are working. Now, you might be like, whoa, there's no muscles there. That's okay. Find a position where you can start to really get that strength. Press into both feet, squeeze that walnut, and again, that sensation of the thighs wrapping open. Okay, you want to be pulling that back thigh up as well. Now, from here, nice and strong, grow through the crown of the head. Arms long, palms facing forwards, okay? Now, what I want us to imagine is that there is a fridge and a wall, and there is a broomstick that we're trying to reach for, okay? So we're trying to reach between the wall and the fridge and go for that broomstick. So that's all I want you to do right now. Reach for that broomstick. Reach. You've almost got it. Reach. Good, come back up, and we're gonna switch the feet and reach for the broomstick on the other side. I'm not crazy, I promise there's method to this madness. Find the feet, press into the feet, feel the thighs engage. You really want to feel the fronts of these firing. Squeeze that little imaginary walnut, open up those thighs, okay? Arms long, you can see that broom. You're determined to get that broom. Imagine that you're reaching between a wall and a fridge. Reach. Good, come back up. Okay, shake out the legs for a moment. Why did I make you do that? It's really ridiculous. It wasn't just for a laugh. The point of this pose is to lengthen the spine and lengthen the side waist. What often happens when people come into this pose is that they just collapse, okay? And there's no length being created. Where what we actually want to do is we want to lengthen. You can see that space. I'm going for that broom. And then I keep that length as I start to reach down. So it's this length first, then tip versus just totally collapsing, okay? So let's try that again. Come to stand. So hands on the hips of the wall. Step, left foot back, okay? So left toes face the side, right toes face forwards. Straighten right leg. Good, get those muscles activating, butt cheeks on, pressing into the floor. Arms long, palms face forwards. So we're gonna go for that broom, but then we're gonna tip down. So reach for the broom. You're shooting left hip back as you crease in your front hip. Then let's just take our right hand to the inside of our thigh or the inside of our knee. Left hand, we're aiming to get directly on top. You're going to feel your core work. Your core has to work here. So it might not be that far. You might be here. You might be here. You might one day be down here. Good. Nice. Rise up. Whew. Shake it out. We're just going to switch to the other side. So left toe is going to face forwards. Right toes are going to face the side, and then straighten the legs. Push into the feet. Squeeze the thighs. Squeeze the butt. Navel's drawing slightly in. Arms are long, palms face forwards. Look for that broom. Determined, reach forwards. Before we tip down, feel that your right hip is shooting out and that you're creasing in your left hip. Then from here, reaching for that broom, you're just going to start to tip. Okay, you might only be this far. You're building up that length. You're building up that strength. Utthita Trikonasana, triangle pose. Whew. Good. Rise up, shake it out. So what I'm going to do now, and you are more than welcome to watch, or if you want to try and do it with me, then do it with me. We're going to move through all of those poses just in a really quick kind of flow. We're not going to do vinyasa. We're just going to try to blend them all together. So option 1, just watch me. Option 2, try to do it with me. Have a laugh. So we're going to come to the top of our mat. Hands on the hips or grab your wall. You're going to look at one thing. Try to listen versus watch if you're doing it with me. So you're going to step back with your left foot, and then straighten both legs. Pull your right hip back. We're coming into pyramid. Right hip back, left hip forwards. Hands can stay on the hips, or you can grab hold of opposite elbows or do that reverse prayer. Take an inhale and exhale. Just start to fold a little bit over that right leg. Pull right hip back. Find that stretch. Good. From here, you're going to start to bend your front knee, maybe widening the stance and rising into Virabhadrasana 1, Warrior 1. Good. From here, if you feel confident, turn onto the ball of the back foot, finding that high lunge. You can see that I'm bending in my front back knee. Good. Take an inhale here. And as we exhale, we open into Warrior 2. This tends to be a safer pose because we're got the flats of both feet down. Arms are long. Look down the front hand. Now flip your front hand. Keep the bend in your front knee. Left hand connects to left leg. We bring right hand high. Take a breath here. Just stretching the side body. Doesn't matter how far that arm goes. Good. Back to Warrior 2. Arms are long. We're going to find extended side angle. Okay. So that right arm comes down onto the right thigh. Palm faces forwards. You can take your left hand onto your hip, or you can take that arm out 45. Palm faces up. And just work on that shoulder mobility. Right now, you're just exploring how far can my arm go? Where does my shoulder start to get a bit tight? Good. Breath here. Look down, and we're going to rise up. You might take your hands on the hips to start. Straighten that front leg. Okay, give that thigh a little break. Finding Utthita Trikonasana, triangle pose. From here, pull the thighs up, strong through those feet, arms long. Right. Look for that broom. Start to reach, left hip shoots out, and then dive down. Now, if you're confident, you can look up to where the top hand is going. Otherwise, keep the gaze down. Gaze down is always easier. Good. From here, bend your front knee back into Warrior 2. We're going to take the weight into our front leg and see if we can step the back foot forwards, pedal out those feet. Good. Okay, so we're going to do the other side, and then we're almost on the home stretch, okay? So I'm going to face away from you just so that you can see what my back body is doing in all these poses. Left foot stays where it is. Step the right foot not even all the way back, okay? Toe at 45, hands on the hips, straighten the front leg. Pyramid pose. Maybe hands come into that other pose or that other gesture. Pull the left hip back, lengthen the spine. And just slowly start to fold. Finding that stretch in the left leg. It does not matter how low you go here. Just find the stretch. Good. Slowly rise up. You might want to step your left foot further, or right foot rather, further back. Bend the front knee. Find Warrior 1. Maybe hands come up. Then if you feel confident, either grabbing the wall or grabbing the hips, spin onto the ball of the back foot. Find that high lunge. You can see my back knees bent. Draw the navel in, maybe the hands come up. Take an inhale here And as we exhale, back foot drops, toes face the side, front knee, push it out. Don't let it collapse in. Arms long, look down that left hand. Now take a big inhale. As you exhale, flip your left hand so the palm faces up. Bring right hand onto right leg and bring that left hand high. Find that stretch, maybe reach it back, but keep the bend in the front knee. Good, we're gonna come back into warrior two. Keep the knee as bent as you can. Left forearm is gonna come down. Now, your right hand can come onto your hip, or you can turn the palm to face up. Then play around with that shoulder. Where does it start to get sticky? Where do you start to collapse the arm down? You wanna keep that shoulder open. Make sure you're pressing into the outside edge of that back foot. Good, okay, look down, start to rise up, straighten out that front leg. Finding the strength in the thighs, pull them up. Palms face forwards, look forwards, determination. You're gonna reach for that broom. Reach as the right hip pops out and then start to tip down. Okay, doesn't matter how low you go here. If you're really tired, just brace yourself on the front of your thigh or the front of the shin, avoiding the knee. Good, look down, rise up. Let's go back into warrior two. Woo, step the foot forwards, pedal it out. Well done, guys. Good, okay. So just before we go into the vinyasas, any thing that just is not making sense, also you can ask me loads of questions, or does it fairly make sense to you? Okay, I'll take silence as good. You can always ask me questions later. Okay, so we're gonna come onto the floor. Okay. Vinyasa doesn't have to be super painful. It doesn't have to be very difficult. It can be a really nice movement. So watch me first. The first option for vinyasa that we're gonna do today, we're gonna do them all from downward dog, is coming forwards into plank, dropping your knees gently, not slamming them down, untucking the toes, sitting into child's pose, pulling back into tabletop, and then into downward dog. So I'll just demo that again a little bit quicker. Forwards into plank, drop the knees, take them a little bit wider, sit the bum back, little child's pose, pull back to tabletop, and then downward dog. Okay, so we're gonna give that a go a couple of times. This is option one. This is like one of the easiest options. So find your downward dog. Don't worry so much about the alignment right now. We're not staying anywhere for very long. I'd say have a soft bend in those knees. So everybody inhale, come forwards into plank. Use the inhale to take you forwards. And then right away, just drop those knees. Gently, don't slam them down. Untuck the toes. Then you're just gonna sit the butt back. Doesn't matter if it touches the heels. Get that really nice stretch along the side body. You're gonna inhale, pull yourself back up into tabletop, tuck your toes, and use the exhale to send the bum back up to the sky. Okay, we're gonna try one more of them. Inhale into plank. As you exhale, the knees come down, toes untuck, and you're just gonna sit the butt back. Good, stay for a moment, catch your breath. On your next inhale, all you're gonna do is pull back into tabletop. As you do this, you tuck the toes. You're gonna have to use core and arms to push yourself back into downward dog. Nice. Pop onto your knees or sit on your butt to watch the second variation. Now, some of you are gonna stop there. That's where your vinyasa is gonna be. Some of you are gonna wanna build some arm strength. So this is what your vinyasa is gonna look like. So you're gonna come forwards into plank. Those knees drop. Now, you're not gonna sit into child's pose this time. You're gonna turn the elbows to face backwards, and you're gonna send the shoulders forwards, and we're gonna do a little baby press up. Push back into tabletop, tuck the toes, back into downward dog. I'll just show that one more time. Forwards into plank, I drop my knees. Turn my elbows face backwards, do a little baby press up, push back, tuck toes, downward dog, okay? So if you want, you can keep doing the child's pose or stop entirely. Otherwise, you're gonna try the little press up version with me. So find your downward dog. Then from here, we're gonna ripple into plank. Don't worry about your plank right now. And then gently drop those knees. Okay, what was I talking about? Elbows facing backwards. So Bend the elbows out to the sides and then turn the bony bit of the elbow to face backwards. Okay, I'll just do that again. Elbows out to the sides, turn the bony bit of the elbow to face backwards. Don't worry if that is confusing. Now, you're just going to shift the weight forward so your shoulders are coming beyond those fingertips, and then just little baby bend. Then push back into the hands, tuck the toes, push the butt back up to the sky. Okay, we'll try that one more time. Forwards into plank, knees drop, toes untuck. Turn those elbows to face backwards. You might have to bend, then turn them. Shift the weight forwards, little baby bend, push back into those hands, tuck the toes, bum comes high. Good. Okay, pop onto the knees. Last variation, some of you are not going to do this. Okay, last variation that you might want to play around with is coming forwards into plank. Drop the knees. So the exact same as the one before. I roll the elbows to face backwards. Then from here, I shift forwards and I'm going to lower all the way onto my belly. Now from here, this is baby cobra. Elbows come in, push my pubic bone down, push my feet down, and I'm using my back body to lift. I'm not using my hands. I'm going to lower back down, tuck my toes. You can push through child's pose, or you can go straight to downward dog. So just show that a little bit quicker. Forwards into plank. I drop my knees. I untuck my toes. I turn my elbows, tip the weight forwards, lower onto my belly. Okay, it might not be beautiful. You might do a little bit of a flop there. Elbows come in, lift the heart, and then tuck the toes, either through child's pose, or if you want to build up the strength, you can come straight to downward dog. Alrighty, so those who are brave and want to play around with this, we're going to do two together. So finding downward dog. From downward dog, we come forwards into plank. We drop our knees gently, untuck our toes. Elbows turn to face backwards, tip the weight forwards, lower onto the belly. From here, lifting the chest off the floor, hugging the elbows in, tucking the toes. Let's push to child's pose. And then let's go into downward dog. Last one. Okay, let's do it together. If you're with me, forwards into plank. Dropping those knees, untucking the toes. Turn the elbows, take the weight forwards, and lower down. From here, hug the elbows, lift the body, tuck the toes, push through child's pose, or straight into downward dog. Good. Bringing yourself down, guys. Well done. That was a lot. Okay, that is going to be the most kind of intense, fast stuff that we're going to do. So just bring yourself to a little seated position, maybe on a block, maybe on a bolster, and just close your eyes for a moment. If you want to, you can lie down. That's totally fine as well. And just notice your breath. Notice how you're feeling. Notice any sensations. And I want you to take a moment to give yourself a mental pat on the back. Okay, it is only week 3, and you've just gone through a lot of poses. You've just gone through Vinyasa Flow. This is about learning the basics of these poses because they make up the foundations of so many other postures that we are going to do. So this week might be challenging. Not might be, it will be challenging for everyone. But remember that you're a beginner. Remember that you're here to learn. And remember that your body is incredible. Whether it's injured, whether it's a little bit weaker, whether it's, a bit wonky, it's got pins in it, whatever it might be. Your body is the thing that is moving you through your life. It is keeping you alive. Give it some gratitude. So just bringing the hands together and just resting the thumbs at your heart center and see if you can feel into your pulse or into the chest rising and falling. And then just start to flutter the eyes open. Well done, guys. Good. Namaste. Well done. So I am super sweaty. I don't know if our house is just really hot or I've not been doing enough in lockdown. But